but it picks up.
Hey, it looks like we are live.
Are live. We are live to all of our listeners. Thank you for tuning in. Let me pause our music. All right. So we are live, and this is the Embracing Joy podcast with Dr. Magda Machet, myself. And thank you so much to all of our listeners for tuning in. I have a very special guest, and I'm so excited that she chose to join us today and to embrace the topic of joy. So let me start with her introduction because this is Dr. Tamara Beckford, the only one. Okay. Dr. Tamara Beckford is known, you've probably seen her before on LinkedIn. She's been on Forbes magazine. You've probably seen her on your news feed, on your LinkedIn feed. She's everywhere. So Dr. Tamara Beckford is a board certified emergency medicine physician. She's a speaker, she's an author, and she's the CEO of Your Caring Docs. She trains companies on employee wellness strategies that reduce stress in the workplace, improve retention, and help lower health related costs. And that's what we want, right? We want to have physicians and, corporate people that are happy to work where they are and they stay there. Once you hire someone, you don't want them to leave very quickly. So what you're doing is so important. She hosts her own show. It's called the Tamara Beckford Show, where she's interviewed over 245 physicians about self-care and their work outside of clinical medicine. She's been featured in Forbes. I told you see her everywhere. She's been on Forbes, Yahoo Finance, Voyage Houston, LinkedIn News, Rolling Out Magazine, and Kevin MD. She's also even been on over 70 podcasts where she's featured talking about wellness. Her podcast, which is named after her show, The Tamara Beckford Show, ranks in the top 3% of podcasts globally. Wow. Okay. And she presents about wellness on many platforms, including the Power to Fly, the Grants Professional Association, Centerpoint Energy, Physician Coach Support, Garden State Bar Association, W North. Okay. All right. W North, Black Enterprise Week, which was sponsored by Chase Bank, and Centerpoint Energy Power Tools Conference for nonprofits. Dr. Beckford, in addition to all these things and being an emergency medicine doctor and all that you've done, she's a success mentor for the EntreMD Business School, which helps physicians build 6, 7, and multiple 7-figure businesses. The EntreMD Business School is ranked number 17 on Southeast America's Inc. 5,000 list of fastest growing companies. Wow. And I'm not finished, y'all. I'm not finished. She has been named a LinkedIn top voice for leadership development and employee wellness. And her content has been viewed over 2.5, not 2.5, not 2.5 thousand, but 2.5 million. Do you hear that? Million times on social media. So if you haven't seen her before, you've seen her before. But and she's co-authored 2 best-selling books. One is called Made for More, and the other is Thriving After Burnout. The New Jersey Academy of Sciences recognized her as a COVID-19 hero for her work during the pandemic. Wow. So what an introduction. Thank you so much, Dr. Beckford, for all you've done is proof in your experience of helping physicians, healthcare workers, corporate employees improve their well-being at work. The is in the pudding over here that Yeah,
Thank you so much.
making a difference in improving the workplace, which most of us spend a majority of our time at work when we're not asleep. So let's make it a good place. And thank you for all you
Absolutely.
do. And thank you for coming here to share your expertise with us.
Oh, thank you
Okay.
for having me, Dr.
Mhm.
Magda. Thank
Yeah.
you for bringing joy. If anyone who has not met Dr. Magda in person, as soon as she steps in a room, she illuminates every room that she's in. And so this is definitely a place where she brings joy. And I'm happy that she has me on, bringing my version of the joy to this wonderful podcast. Thanks so much for having me.
Oh, thank you so much, Tamara. I really appreciate that. Very high compliment. So, we're going to start out with a game.
Mhm,
Okay. So, I've been doing improv for about a year, and I really enjoy the warm up games that we learn as part of our improv skills.
mhm,
The warm up games really help us to listen to each other as players and get into the mindset that we are, and also get into the mindset where we are thinking on our feet and
mhm.
not trying to think about what's the right thing to say or what's the which a lot of us do. We get in the mindset that, oh, I need to make sure I say the right thing. There's no right answer. This is, fun, free. Say the first thing that's on your mind. We're going to play a game called convergence. So the way we play
Mhm,
this game is we're going to count to three. So I'll say one when I have something that's coming to my mind, and then you say one if you think say the first thing on your mind that you think
mhm.
I'm about to say, and then we'll say one, two, three, and then we'll say the word.
Okay.
Another term for this game is mind meld. So we want to get to the point where we're saying the same word. So
Okay.
that's a bit of magic. Like our minds will get to
We're
the
gonna
same
get it
place.
attuned.
We're going to
We
get
just
in
link.
tune to say
We're
the
linking our
same word.
minds.
Yeah, we're linking our minds.
Alrighty. I love it.
Okay. All right. So let's go.
Okay.
All right. One,
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 two,
two,
three. We say
three.
the same time. Pancakes.
Water. Yours is blanket,
Pancakes.
pancakes,
Pancakes.
and pancakes and
Pancakes.
water.
Pancakes
Well,
and water.
water is used to make
So
pancakes, so we're
that's
close.
true. So wait, so we have to say something at the same time that connects the two. So we were a little bit off with our timing. So let's try to say one, two, three. On three, we say the same word. Are you ready? Okay.
Okay.
One,
One,
two,
two,
three.
egg,
Breakfast. What'd you say?
egg.
Egg and breakfast.
Okay,
Okay.
we're getting
So
closer.
something that connects eggs and breakfast. Okay.
Okay.
Ready?
One,
One, two,
two, three.
three.
Brunch.
Oh, but that was a good one. So I messed up. So brunch and nothing. So we'll try it one more time. So
Okay.
eggs and breakfast again. Okay. One,
Okay. One,
one, two,
two, three.
three. Oh, hold on.
French toast.
We're supposed to say it at the same time.
I'm
Okay,
waiting.
one
I'm
more.
impatient.
You're doing great. You're doing great. You're doing wonderful. Okay, one more time. Okay, eggs and breakfast.
Okay.
One,
One,
two,
two, three.
three. Omelet.
Scramlet. Oh, not scramlet. I was thinking scrambled. I like scrambled egg instead of scramlet.
That's good. Scrambled. So scrambled eggs and omelet. So the point is now we're getting very specific.
Mm-hmm.
So it's good to have a more broad answer. So if I say you don't want to say something very specific like IHOP or like a name
Okay.
of actor, you want to keep it more broad.
Okay. So we're getting
So
too
let's try
specific.
again, but move it a little bit more broad because now we're on eggs, scrambled eggs, and omelet, which is pretty close. So let's try it one more time. Let's see.
to get
Okay.
broader. So we're going to zoom
I
out.
got it. So we zoom out. So scrambled
Okay.
eggs and omelet. I got it. I got it. Do you have it?
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Okay.
One,
1, 2.
2, 3. Cheese.
Chicken. Oh, chicken and cheese. The chicken lays the egg, so you think about cheese.
I like cheese on my scrambled eggs.
I like cheese on my eggs too. I really do. Okay, so now we have chicken and cheese. Okay, chicken and cheese. Um, when you got it, we'll do a count. So chicken and cheese.
Okay.
Okay.
Ready?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Ready?
One,
1,
two,
2,
three.
3. Sandwich.
Sandwich.
We need to play some music for that because we did great. We finally got it.
I love it.
Oh, that music is slow.
It's slowly
It's slowly
melodic.
celebrating. Woo! Sandwich. Okay.
Love it.
Now let's get started within that was the music to celebrate. Awesome. And that's right, because it can go on a long time before you get to the convergence. So we got to the mind meld where we both were thinking sandwich.
Sandwich.
And we start well, the words we started with, what were the words we started with?
I said water
Oh, a
and
pancake. I said pancake.
pancake.
So water and pancake, and we ended up at sandwich. See,
Sandwich.
yeah,
Nice.
it can go interesting. It can go interesting places. So that's a nice, fun
Yeah.
warm up game in improv. So now that we are in the mood of playfulness,
Mm-hmm.
joy. Let's talk a little bit more in detail about, how you, as an emergency room physician,
Mm-hmm.
you've worked and dealt with very high stressful environments,
Mm-hmm.
especially during COVID. And we know that once people become professionals, which a
Mm-hmm.
lot of, of course, we're professionals, sometimes you see the joy leave.
Absolutely.
Hmm. And people just work in their day to day, and
Mm-hmm.
they feel that there may not be room for joy or room for laughter or room to for playfulness, not until they clock out, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Right. So how have you found that bringing an example where adding joy in a high stress environment such as the emergency room, can you give me an example how that has changed the mood
Absolutely.
or okay, awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. So when you're in high stress environments,
Mhm.
such as the emergency room, the emergency department, there are a few ways that one can bring joy to there. I usually will tell someone when you're thinking of it, we're really bringing the energy of joy to that room, right? Whatever energy that you have within, once you step into the room, once you step into the place, then you bring that energy in. So it starts within. If you're trying to change the energy within the environment that's out of your control, that's outside of you. So, what are some key things that I do? I really literally start within. I think of things that brings me joy, that calms me, that can really settle an very uneasy environment. There are multiple times that I step into the room with my patients and we laugh together. And one would think, you're having laughter within the emergency department.
Mhm,
Yes,
mhm,
why not? Because my natural personality is a cheerful personality. I'm naturally high energy. I'm naturally joyful. And
mhm,
that's my standard baseline personality. And it also comes with a lot of calmness, right? So when I
mhm,
step in the room, if I have an environment where I can be authentic, which is what I do wherever I go, then I bring that joy within. in the room. And it comes in the form of, being able to be a little bit playful with the patient. And what that does is that brings ease. And when you bring ease to that environment, then I get the patient at their best so that I
Mhm.
can gather the information that I need, right? So if I have someone who's intense, they're very nervous, they're unsure of what's going on. You've just stepped into one of the most stressful places on earth where your
Mhm.
mind is going a million miles per minute on what could be going on. Then I bring my level of not just professionalism, but joy to that room, try to
Mhm.
put you at ease. I extract the information that I need and I'll get the best info. Why? Because I've brought you down to a level from being highly stressed to a level of being calm. So that's how I bring it to the room. Now, bringing it towards your colleagues, that's, an additional step. Most of those who work in the emergency department, we have a quirky personalities. We attract other quirky people. So most of our colleagues have similar mindsets, and it's a little bit easier to connect in that respect. So that part is easier than it is to bring that level of joy and laughter towards patient situations. And this is
Mhm.
not to say, I'll put a caveat here. This is
Mhm.
not to say that we're laughing at patients, that we're not taking our jobs seriously. This is actually the opposite. We are taking our jobs seriously. And when we are bringing this level of laughter, joy, and love towards the patient, that's an extra level. That's what we call the art of medicine. We always naturally bring the science in because that's what's in our minds, being able to diagnose and create the plan. But bringing the joy and laughter is bringing the art of medicine within. That's how we do it.
I love that. And I love that you touched on the art of medicine versus the science of medicine because, part of medicine originally before there were all these medications,
Mhm,
before um, we had all the technology that we have to diagnose people with
mhm,
imaging and CT scans, medicine is about the relationship
mhm,
between the patient and the physician or the provider, nurses, whoever is taking care of that person. So it's about that relationship. And before we had all the options of medication, physicians would just sit with patients, they
mhm,
sit, comfort,
mhm,
and that compassion is so important. I love that you touched on
mhm,
that. It's like the art of medicine. It's like we have compassion for our patients, and
mhm.
our job is to ease suffering. And I love that you
Absolutely.
brought in to bring ease.
Mhm,
So part of easing suffering is to not invite more suffering. So
mhm.
when we have an attitude that we're suffering, like, oh, I'm here,
Yes.
the patients don't want to be there. They
Mhm,
would rather be anywhere else in the world. But I love how you are going in, and it starts within, like you said, number one,
mhm,
starting from within and coming with the attitude that I'm going to provide compassionate care for my patient. I'm
mhm.
going to improve their mood as much as I can. They may not get up to where I am, but I can lift them
Absolutely.
from where they're coming from because they're coming to you in deep suffering a lot of the times.
Mhm,
So I think that is just beautiful, and I appreciate your what you said about that. Yeah, that's wonderful. So we talked about the emergency room. So
mhm.
I know you've done over 240 interviews with doctors,
Yes.
right? That's that's a lot, and that's amazing. I don't think I know 240 doctors, but and I went to med school. I think there was 140 in my med school class. I don't know, but that's a lot of doctors. So from talking with the doctors, and you
Mhm.
were talking about self-care with them, especially in this time of the pandemic and post-pandemic world where a lot of doctors have quit medicine, a lot of doctors
Yes.
have left, a lot of doctors have suffered through burnout. And you talked with them about their lives outside of work and the importance of joy. Well, and you learned about the importance of joy, like in their self care routines, or So
Mhm.
how do you think from these interviews or from talking with doctors, how does joy affect their well being and performance? Like, what would you say?
I say that joy has a huge impact on the well-being of the physicians, that especially those whom I've interviewed. Uh, Prior to them finding that joy, and we use the word finding, and it's really a great word because it really did get lost. So it's not that it's just emerged. Most people have had joy throughout their lives at different points in their life, and then they lose it.
Mhm.
So that's no different for our physician colleagues. And there are many factors that lead to our physician colleagues losing joy. And that led to burnout. And some of our colleagues, it's even led to mental illnesses.
Mhm. Mhm.
It's also led to decisions of and thoughts of suicide. Some have
Mhm.
even attempted suicide.
Mhm.
It's led to what we call those intrusive thoughts, where
Mhm.
you are unable to handle the thoughts are coming in despite you not wanting those thoughts to come in. And these are thoughts of, I'd rather be, it's better off without me, there's
Mhm.
nothing that I can do. These are the helplessness and hopelessness. So when our physician colleagues have gotten to that point, and then through different modalities, they're able to find the joy again. There are many things that have led to that. So some might be coaching, some are, might be through professional help, such as seeking psychiatric therapy. Some might be changing their environment. These are different ways that they've opted to find joy. Now, some of the ways that they've kept it, I've noticed, are doing the simple things. And
Mhm.
these are the simple things that were important in their lives prior to medicine, prior to the high stress job, prior to chasing this additional dream that seemed as if it were more important than the smaller, more beautiful things in their lives.
Mhm.
And once they start going back to the essence of who they are, they start to find the joy. And these are in simple things such as finding joy in nature. A lot of people start connecting back with nature, going on walks within within nature itself. Some might be in wooded areas, some might be on trails, others might be connecting with the beach, with water. And these are just really ways that have poured back into them. It brings a sense of calm, it brings a sense of purpose, and life becomes the realization that it's bigger than us, and the impact that we can have on life is more than what's in our mind at this time, right? And then they've connected by doing things that are creative. Some people have lost their creativity, or they thought they did, and they said, well, I used to like to do things with my hands. I started painting again. I started sculpting. I might some have even started pottery. They found new ways to create things, because that's one of the beautiful parts of joy, is that when you get into the creative mode and you have something to that's tangible that you can look at the end, it brings you back to that point that you can always get that same feeling when you look at that tangible object. So there are many, many ways that they're able to bring joy back into their lives. And these are what we call, as you aptly stated, self-care, which is you're bringing joy by doing things that are meaningful to you. Because as physicians, as high achieving individuals, we do a lot of things that's meaningful for others. and
Mhm.
you start to lose some of yourself within that. So when these physicians start bringing it back and doing things that are meaningful for themselves, then they start to bring back the joy, even like gratitude, just small but powerful actions bring back joy within their lives.
Wow. Thank you for saying that. I think just the what you've said and what you've learned,
Hmm.
that can help so many high achieving professionals that are burnt out, or professional people that can become burnt out, that just reconnecting with yourself,
Hmm.
because sometimes we're people who are high achieving and professionals, they start to connect themselves with their job.
Yes.
Right. So, because when you're given the title of someone like a physician, you're like, wait, I'm Magda, but no, you're not Magda, you're doctor. And
Hmm.
they can be separate, right? Because what Magda likes to do is not necessarily what the doctor likes to do. Of course, she went to
Hmm.
medical school and she did all these things, but a wild, she had a wide range of interests and
Yes.
passions that had to be, of course, they had to be limited for her to graduate medical
Hmm.
school at that time.
Hmm.
So when you get there, you disconnect. There is a
Yes.
disconnect with the self, unless
Absolutely.
unless you work very hard, not necessarily hard, but you have to know that I will not disconnect with this part of myself and honor it.
Yeah, it has to
Or
be very intentional. Like,
intentional. Yeah,
yeah.
it has to be intentional. If you don't
Hmm.
make time for yourself, you will lose yourself. There you go. If you right. So if you
Absolutely.
don't make time, and it's not about, looking cute, of course that's nice, but it's not about it's about, finding those things that your younger self, your child self, the essence
Hmm.
of you, your
Yes.
soul, right?
Yes.
That ignite you and bring you joy, right? Healthy things, right? Because some people will be like, oh no, they're gonna start, or relaxing in different ways that cause more harm. But
Yes.
going back to your kid self, like when I was
Hmm.
very young, what did my mom say I was good at, or what was I good at, or even just
Yes.
trying new things that you may not be good at, like improv comedy that I did. I didn't know if I was going to be good or not, but trying new things. But you also have to take time to to do that and be intentional that I'm going to do something that's just for me.
Absolutely. And
It's not.
I love that you pulled upon the childhood thing. And that's something that I often ask people, because when we're talking about joy, self-care, you're talking about bringing back the essence of you, which are the words that I usually use, to describe that. It really comes back to childhood. And I ask people, what is it that you like to do? And I don't know what I have with the magical number 7,
Mhm,
but I would say, what is it that you like to do when you were 7 years old? Because I feel like at that age, you're old enough that you have your own mind, but you aren't at the point where life has limited you.
mhm,
As to what you can and you can't do. You're not good enough. You haven't been so um torn by the limitations that life puts upon you. So you
mhm,
still have a lot more of your kitty essence where you feel invincible.
mhm,
I can do that and I can do so many things. And I feel like that's where a lot of joy is stored in that 7-year-old version of yourself. So when you
mhm,
look back in it and you can find that I used to love to do this, and I liked reading books, or I liked drawing comics, or I liked to paint, or any I like jumping rope, and or making up stories. Like
mhm,
those were some of the essence that brought a lot of people joy. But as you mentioned, as we get older, those things are like, you have to suppress it. You have
mhm,
to, focus on whatever is going on in your life at that time, and you lose some of that. And so it's great to be able to find it again.
mhm. Yes, thank you so much. I think what you said about self-care, and the healthcare workers find, simple things like, so paying attention, like simple things we think they're not important. Most physicians are like, oh, play a game or read a book. Like, no, I don't have
Mhm.
time for that. I'm only going to read. There was all through med school, all through
Mhm.
residency, I only read medical literature.
Yeah,
You're
most of
right,
us.
right? So
Most
I
of
said,
us.
and I used to love fiction books, biographies, different books, but you sacrifice, of course, during that
Mhm.
time, but it's hard to go back because it took me months to try to read a book after that. Like once I
Mhm.
became an attending, I was like, let me see. My friend wrote a book, and I was like, let me read his. It's a play. Let me read his book, and it's hard to get into that other state of mind
Yes,
once you've been outside of that for so long. But paying
absolutely.
attention to the simple things are so important, and that's a key lesson, and I think that will help a lot of physicians too. And of course, checking out your what you have said and your videos and your interviews with other doctors that you've done on the Tamara Beckford show. I think that will help so many physicians that are in that space of burnout. So I really thank you for that. So we are going to wrap it up with
Mhm.
three, well, two final questions. These are our wrap up questions.
Okay.
Okay. These are so the first wrap up question is, who would you say is a model for joy in your life? And that could be someone famous, could be a family
I don't
member.
even have to go very far.
Yeah, who?
It's
Okay.
my mom.
Okay.
My mom is a source of joy. And I say this because this part of my personality, which is joy, accommodating, trying to get people to feel at their best and to really uplift their spirit, I get that from her.
Mhm.
She has always had this very jovial personality. She's a very kind person, very kind heart, and very brilliant. And she's one of those moms that I look at when I think of my creative mind and say, why is my mind so creative when it comes to thinking about especially complex things, like,
Mhm.
complex science things, and breaking it down into very creative ways. And I attribute that to her. When I was younger, she was helping me to learn things in an elementary form. She would always liken it to cartoons, or so it was just such a fun way to learn.
Mhm.
And how so now that some of the memories that are stored in how to think about complex ways, I break them down into very, very, very vivid, imaginative ways. And I contribute that to her. So I don't have to go very far to find a fun person and joy. I
Enjoy.
just go and I just look. I'm like, oh, yeah, my mom. That's her.
Yeah, I love that. So I love that, she of course instilled those beautiful qualities in you, where I remember in the beginning of this talk talked about how you bring that energy to the patients in the ER, that in the emergency department that need it. So you come in with that energy where you're going to show them compassion and try to lift their spirits. And
Mhm.
the second part is, it sounds like she gave you a love of and joy of learning,
Oh, yeah,
because
absolutely.
there's some households where learning is like you need to know A or B and that's it, or you just
Mhm.
study, memorize. But she made it fun, and I think that joy of learning continues on to where you keep learning, and now you have an MD, right? So it's like, which is it's good to find that joy is what keeps you going back to learn more, to do more.
Absolutely.
So that's great. Okay, the last question is, if you were baking a cake of joy,
Mhm.
what are your top three ingredients? What are we mixing in your cake?
What are we mixing in my cake of joy?
Hmm. Hmm.
Alrighty. So, interestingly so, now that you've asked me that question and I can think about it,
Hmm.
I think my sons and I have baked these cakes of imaginary cakes of joy. So one is sprinkles, sprinkled with kindness.
Hmm.
um, Two is layered with love. And Three is an icing of hugs because I love giving hugs. So those are my three layers. So hopefully all three of those can bake a cake, but it'll bake
Yeah,
my
they can bake.
joy.
Yeah, they can bake this cake. This cake.
This
Oh, this
cake
cake
of
is
joy.
baked. This cake is in the oven and it's almost ready to go.
Yes.
But that sounds like a delicious cake. Delicious cake full of the most wonderful ingredients. And I thank you so much, Dr. Beckford. So, Dr. Beckford,
Yes.
how can our listeners contact you and where can they find you?
Absolutely. So, your wonderful listeners can find me on LinkedIn. You can find me on LinkedIn as Tamara Beckford, MD. You can always contact me by finding all things Dr. Beckford on my website, which is the Your Caring Docs website. That's URCaringDocs.com. With that, you'll have ways to connect with me. If you would like to work with me, have me as one of the people to do stress management or burnout prevention training for your organization, or if you'd like to have me as a speaker at your next conference. I exude joy and I exude confidence and I exude lots of energy. So, definitely, if you're looking for an energized speaker, you can do that. And you can always contact me through the website or send me an email at Dr. Beckford at yourcaringdocs.com. That's Dr. BECKFORD at yourcaringdocs.com.
Wow. Well, thank you. Thank you so much, Dr. Beckford. I'm giving you a huge air hug
Air
and a
hugs.
slice of the cake that you made.
Oh,
Thank you.
yeah. And it's also delicious. The Food
Delicious.
Network will be contacting me. Yes.
I'm sure they will. I mean, all the other networks have, so the Food Network is next. Okay. Well, thank you so much. It's been an absolute pleasure, and we'll be in touch. And of course, um, take care. And thank you for joining us, everyone that joined us today.
Mhm.
Please send us your questions. Let us know what you thought about this episode, and we'll be happy to hear from you. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Bye. Have an evening with more joy.